Should you pull for Hacima Veiled Star? That is a great question, and you've come to the right place. Welcome back to another PGR video, guys. I'm Connor's Thoughts, and today we're going to be taking a bit of a closer look at Hacima Veiled Star with her coming patch, The Arc Beyond, releasing soon. If you've been following my videos, you know I've briefly talked about Haicma before if you looked at my ice team video. And so if you want to get more details on how to properly build an ice team, feel free to go and check that out. But if you have seen that, then you've seen I've talked about Haicma a little bit, but I'm just going to briefly go over her again. Haicma is a uniframe unit. So uniframe units are previously what were referred to as ascendants and not constructs. And so she's really only going to be used in content that's designed for uniframes. She can be mixed into a team with omniframes and you can use her for fun. However, uniframe and omniframe teams, while you can mix them, are always generally going to be suboptimal. If you're just playing for fun because it's the characters you like, of course, go ahead and do that. But from an actual damage output perspective, that doesn't work, with one exception that is coming in a while in global, so we're not even going to bother talking about it. She is a scythe wielding uniframe. She's got a physical ice split with 10% physical and 90% ice damage. And she is a Vanguard class unit, which means she has really high burst and generally single target DPS damage. However, as an ice unit though, she has some great crowd control because she is able to freeze units, which is helpful for survivability and a general DPS output. Being a uniframe, she does have her own 6-piece set that is specifically designed for her, like all of the other uniframes in the game, so that's the set that's going to be built. Now, personally, from a design perspective, I think her base form is really dumb, and I've said this before, that bonnet is dumb and I don't like it. I know from a lore perspective, she's part of the Church of Machine, so like they're kind of trying to get some of those aesthetics applied, but I just think it really ruins her design. Fortunately, as you level her up, she does lose the bonnet and get this really cool, or I'll say much cooler looking bun that gets applied to her overall model, and it's great. Also, like, she's just extremely flashy. The ice looks so cool, and I'm a big fan of it. Being a uniframe, I will say that she's a lot easier to get, because if for those of you who are newer players and don't know, uniframes only need 1 10 pull to guarantee them within the game. So that's only 2,500 black cards if you're counting at home. So that does make her a little more accessible than pulling on general omniframes in the game. However, like I said, uniframes are a little more limited in the content that they're a part of, and mixing them in omniframe teams is never a first choice option that you're going to want to do. So while she is a cheap investment to at least get a single copy, I have a hard time fully justifying the amount spending to get her when you're thinking about account application, especially when we compare her to the unit coming in the patch after Haicma. I know that feels so far away, but when you're free to play like myself and you're a black card saver, it's really not that far. The unit coming after Hacima Veiled Star is another unit called Karenina Radiant Daybreak, who, if you're a fan of Monster Hunter and the hammer gameplay, is definitely going to be a must pull for you, but that's just a personal preference thing. From an actual pulling perspective, she fits into the dark tank role, so she's going to be competing with number 21 and with Kamui Tenebrian for that slot. If you've got neither of them built, she is a definite pull, I would say, to fit into that slot. But if you've already got a really build to Kamui Tenebrian, you know, it's fairly comparable, and I wouldn't necessarily say she's a must pull, but we can talk about that a little bit more when her time comes. But when I'm comparing Karenina Radiant Daybreak to Haicma, I think it's kind of a hard choice. So that's a quick little rundown. So we know Haicma is a uniframe. She doesn't really gel well with the omniframe teams. Uniframe content is a little more limited. However, she is really cheap to get, but when you're still saving black cards for future omniframes, is it worth those 10 pulls? Especially with Karenina Radiant Dawn coming afterwards. So where do I land on all of this? Should you pull on Hacima Veiled Star? I think it very much depends on how many black cards you have saved and or what you're willing to spend. If you're free to play like me and you've got a ton of black cards saved because you've been lucky on your pulling for other characters, you haven't been going for multiple copies or signature weapons, and you've got a lot of black cards sitting around that you're just saving, I would say, yeah, pulling 1 copy of Hacima Veiled Star isn't really a problem. I'm never really against pulling a single copy of a unit. But if you're like me and you're really prioritizing omniframes, you don't have a lot of black cards saved, I want to get both Karenina Radiant Dawn and the omniframe that comes after her, I gotta be a little stingy this time around. Because I punished myself with Pulao before, it put me at a little bit of a deficit that I'm still trying to make back. And so to really guarantee that I can get both of those units, I'm gonna be skipping Hacima for sure in this case, but that's just me personally. Again, if you've got a lot of black cards sitting around, a single copy is not going to hurt anybody. It's 110 pull, and then you just have her and you can use her, so it's great. She's a really cool looking unit. The more I play this game, the more I wish there wasn't the distinction between uniframes and omniframes, and I wish like a lot of these cool uniframe units we could just use in the teams without, the consequences. I understand it's there for lore reasons and they want to have a bit of variety there, but some of these uniframes are so cool, and I really wish we could crank them out in that way. But it is what it is, and that's how the game plays. So that's going to be it for me, guys. That's my opinion on this, on where I think you should spend your black cards. Probably going to be a skip for most of you, including myself, but if you've got extra, feel free to pull. That's going to be it for this one, guys. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate your time. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe on the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.